Welcome to the TalentGrow Show, where you can get actionable, results-oriented insight and advice on how to take your leadership, communication, and people skills to the next level and become the kind of leader people want to follow. And now, your host and leadership development strategist, Halelly Azulay.
Hey there, talent growers. Welcome back to another episode of the TalentGrow Show. I'm Halelly Azulay, your leadership development strategist here at TalentGrow. This time we have another Ask Halelly solo episode. These are episodes where I answer a question that I receive either from a listener, a member of the media, or someone in the audience of one of my talks at conferences or one of my workshops around the country where I help develop leaders that people actually want to follow. I get lots of questions, so every once in a while I choose one of those questions and I share my answer with you. And in this episode 127, I answer the question, how can I develop myself and my team to be future-ready leaders? Here we go. So today's questioner asked, one of the biggest challenges that all employees have today is staying future ready and employable. And one of the biggest challenges that leaders and managers have today is creating future ready employees and leaders. How can I navigate a workplace that is changing at the speed of technology, anticipate the skills and development that I need and my employees will need in the future, and keep my employees engaged, retaining them through times of change? So I have 5 specific suggestions, but before we get into that, I'd like to say that I think one of the problems that many companies face is that they think that they've invested in employees who leave too early and that that's a problem. I think that the real loss is that companies continue to ignore the reality that employees no longer are going to be willing or interested in staying in one job for a long time. Stop thinking in old terms and lamenting the consequences or pretending this is not the case. Those days are over. They're gone. They're done. What companies and leaders should really do instead is redesign your strategy and employment approach to adapt to this new world order. So I've spoken about that elsewhere. That's not the topic for today's podcast, but I really wanted to stop for a moment and think about how this quest to keep people for a long time is just misguided. But having said that, when your employees are with you, what you want to do is keep them for as long as you can and keep them engaged while they're with you, because the statistics are ridiculously sad about how many employees are totally disengaged in their job. And then when people start leaving soon and you invest a lot in them, it does become a loss. So one of the main reasons, according to research, that employees leave companies is that they don't feel like they're growing and developing, or they don't see a lot of development opportunities on the horizon with your company. And the other reason that employees leave is bad managers. And both of these problems are the employer's problem to own and fix, not the employees. The employees are naturally going to take care of themselves. And if that means going elsewhere, that's what they're going to do. So as an employer, you need to fix this problem. And good news, it's a solvable problem. So as you're working to be a future-ready leader and to develop future-ready leaders on your team, here are my top 5 ways that you can do that. First, I think that you need to grow your own leadership skills and grow leadership skills in your team, in your employees, and put a greater focus on learning and development on the job in general. Like I said, one of the main reasons people leave jobs is because they don't feel like they have an opportunity to grow and learn. So a lot of times organizations don't invest enough in developing leaders, in developing managers, in giving you the skills to be the kind of leader people actually want to follow. And so if you don't have the skills, which are completely learnable, and you're not getting developed by your organization or developing yourself in a proactive way, you might fall into that really big statistic of people who maybe unintentionally are bad leaders, bad managers. And those are the people that good employees leave. So instead of using the sink or swim or throw off the cliff way of developing leaders, companies must actively invest in growth and learning opportunities for leaders in terms of leadership skills and people management skills. Now, training programs can definitely help. There are a lot of ways that you can bring in leadership development programs into your organization. And of course, I'd be happy to help you with that. I have lots of those. One of the biggest services that I provide companies in my business, in TalentGrow, is to actually consult with companies on how to develop strategic leadership development programs, which go well beyond training and workshops or bringing in a speaker or having a webinar series. Because training programs can help, but they are not sufficient. Most of the time, people are learning on the job. They need information and learning and new skills just in time, and waiting for some official program to launch, once a quarter or twice a year or next month is just not going to cut it. So people already are going to find ways to learn in a just-in-time way and to learn on the job. So smart companies can get engaged and involved in being more strategic about developing opportunities for leadership development on the job throughout a person's career and not just in specific programs. And there are lots of ways to grow leadership skills outside the training classroom, like volunteering roles can help you grow leadership skills outside your organization even. You can pair up with a mentor. You can even serve as a mentor before you're promoted. And that way you can develop your leadership skills and become ready for the promotion. There are so many ways. I've written about them in my book, Employee Development on a Shoestring, 11 different non-training development methods. And I will link in the show notes to a short vlog, a video blog that I created titled Leadership Development Outside the Classroom, because there are so many different ways to do this. I'm not going to get into all the specifics today. And for employees, to create more development opportunities for employees, the same goes. Yeah, you can give them training programs. Yeah, you can give them e-learning and online learning and all kinds of official programmatic learning opportunities. But there's so much more you can do when you think outside the classroom and outside the box, like mentoring, special projects, special teams, social learning. I mean, there's so many ways that you can create non-training, low-budget development opportunities for all employees. And 11 methods like that are what I described in my book. And I'll also link to some helpful blog posts that I've written about this. So development opportunities need to be something that employers look to offer. And there are lots of cost-effective ways to offer development opportunities for leaders and employees throughout the year, on the job, in many different flexible and inexpensive formats. So that's my first suggestion. Offer development opportunities. My second suggestion is that leaders engage in frequent, regular, short conversations with every single employee about their aspirations, about their goals, about their challenges, about their motivation, their development interests, their strengths, their current performance, and so much more. A lot of times, leaders make the mistake of saving up conversations with employees about all of these things to the quarterly meeting that you might have about their performance, or worse, semi-annual, or worse, annual. And that's a huge mistake. You should not be only talking about this kind of stuff once or twice or 3 or 4 times a year. You should be having regular, ongoing conversations with employees. And if you do talk to employees regularly about these topics, then none of those conversations need to be something that's extremely formal or very time-consuming, because you can have small conversations because you're covering many topics over time. So have regular conversations. I'll link to, there was a blog post that I did that I then created a video and a podcast episode based on, that describes 10 different conversations that every leader should have with every employee. And I think that that's a very helpful place to start thinking about. How can I engage with people regularly and help to support their growth, their needs, give them feedback, etc., in an ongoing way? And when you don't, you're missing an opportunity. And if our question here is how to create future-ready employees and leaders and how to retain your top talent, Not having regular conversations means you're squandering the opportunity to do so. My third suggestion is to encourage employees to be self-directed lifelong learners and to seek continual development opportunities on their own. So while my first suggestion was give them opportunities to develop, my third suggestion here is to actually help them grow that mindset that says they are responsible for their own development and that they are stewards of their own career. And by helping to nurture that kind of a mindset and to develop that kind of an approach to learning and growing, you're helping them help themselves, and you're helping them help you keep them. Change is really the only constant, and the rate of change is increasing. And so to be functional and to be successful, both leaders and employees have to develop good habits for pursuing ongoing self-development. You can't rely on your employers to take care of you. I recently wrote a piece for a book that's been published that says that you have to go from ward to steward. You're not a ward of the employer. You are a steward of your own career. So employees who have this kind of a self-directed learner mindset will then have the skill set that will help them stay relevant and current and future ready and seeking ways to grow and learn without being reliant on their employer for all of their learning needs. Number 4, I encourage you to encourage your employees to be authentic and strategic networkers and to build and nurture mutually beneficial long-term relationships. It's not a new skill, and this may not be news, but relationships are actually something that is so important to people feeling satisfied in their career, but also creating new development opportunities and growth opportunities. So the quality of the relationships and the breadth and depth of their network, your network, is going to become even more important in the new kind of world we're living in, where 6 degrees of separation is really not even the case anymore. There are way less degrees of separation and shrinking every day because there are many more ways for us to connect in a globally networked world, and the opportunities that you can discover for new information, for new skills, for opportunities for new products, for improvement, all kinds of things that are beneficial to the employer and to the employee are going to be those things that separate those who are well networked than their competition. So in addition to having access to resources, opportunities, and connections through this kind of a rich and diversified network of real connections, people you actually know and are friends with, you can also increase your value because of the network effect, because the people that you are connected with, they have connections, and those kind of 1 apart, 2 apart, 3 apart connections can become increasingly valuable and increase your value because of what's called the network effect. And you can make connections between seemingly disparate fields and ideas and people that will create new ideas and add real value to your work as a result. And so this is true for you as a leader, and this is definitely something that you want to nurture as a mindset in your team. I've blogged and podcasted about this topic before, and one particularly germane episode on the TalentGrow Show is episode 18, where Michael Simmons was my guest, and we talked about the value of networking with people outside your industry and outside your field, and you being the bridge. I'll also link to a blog post that I wrote about this, but you being someone who bridges other connections between other people and ideas. Sometimes these are called expert generalists or network brokers, because this kind of a person adds value and increases their own chance of career success by 65%, and their own learning and the value that they offer to their employers, to other employees, to clients. So becoming an authentic and strategic networker is a huge skill set to develop. And by encouraging this, you can create a future-ready workforce. My 5th and final suggestion today is for you to actively work on keeping abreast of trends and changes in your industry, in your competitors, innovations in technology, changes in your customers' needs and wants, and encouraging your employees to do the same. The more that you dedicate time daily, weekly, or at least monthly to educating yourself and being out there to observe and absorb new developments and changes, the better able you will be to get a strategic advantage and a big picture sense of what's on the horizon. This is going to help you and your staff, your team, be ready for changes, right? Be future ready. It will help you innovate and create new opportunities rather than be caught off guard by changes or miss the boat on specific opportunities that your competition might grab first. And it can also help you draw connections to your current and future workplace. So it will position you in a place of staying ahead of the curve and staying ahead of the game. And it will help you be ready for whatever comes your way. And engaging and nurturing this kind of mentality in your employees, in your team, is going to help them too stay on the cutting edge and stay engaged. These are my suggestions for 5 ways that you can develop yourself and your team to be future-ready leaders. So what did you think, talent growers? Did this ring a bell for you? Did this strike some ideas in you about things that you can do to create development opportunities for yourself and your team and to become more future ready? I'd love to hear what you thought. I'd love to hear how you've implemented any of these suggestions or any additional suggestions you have for other ways that you can become more future ready and build future ready leaders on your team. Let's get a conversation going. You know, I'm always open and welcoming of your feedback and input. And in general, I'd love for you to also engage with asking me questions for future Ask Halelly episodes. I'd love to feature your question, and you can do that by writing the question into me either by email or on social media messaging, but you can also leave a comment in the show notes on this page, which is right on my website, talentgrow.com, on the podcast show notes page for this episode 127, or you can leave me a voicemail. There is a little black tab on every page of my website. You can access it whether it is from your desktop or your mobile device, and you just click on that and you can record a voice message to me. And if you record it with clear audio and you give me your permission, I can even play your audio on a future Ask Halelly episode. Wouldn't that be cool? I'd love to feature you. All right, come on, take action. Your own development and your team's development is dependent on it. Thanks for listening to another episode of the TalentGrow Show. I'm Halelly Azulay, your leadership development strategist here at TalentGrow, and this has been an Ask Halelly episode. Thanks for listening. I appreciate you. And until the next time, make today great.
Thanks for listening to the TalentGrow Show, where we help you develop your talent to become the kind of leader that people want to follow. For more information, visit talentgrow.com.